All right, I'm here with the two of the creators for the DC Webtoons comic books. I have Patrick Young, who is the writer for Red Hood and the Outlaws, and I'm sorry, you're the artist for Vixen, but
My name is Manou Azumi.
Okay, I didn't want to mispronounce.
You're fine.
So we're just quick. What was your first introduction to DC Comics or the characters that you're working on?
The first introduction to Vixen for me was the old Justice League cartoon that when she was with Jon Stewart. That's the first time I ever saw her.
I grew up reading my dad's and cousin's comic books, and then the Batman animated series. I probably watched Batman Sub-Zero, the movie, on repeat. I had it taped off of Cartoon Network, and I watched that tape to death.
And so, what was is this your first experience writing the Jason Todd, Bizarro, and Artemis?
Yeah, I mean it's my first experience writing a comic, period.
Oh,
so it's been a hell of an introduction.
What is I know the comic format is a vertical read. Is there anything that you had to adapt from reading comic books yourself, or from taking it from a page to kind of a straight down kind of format?
Yeah, it's a lot less perfunctory. You're not looking at typically you look at a single page that tells its own story, but here it's constantly moving, and you got to trust that the audience itself is going to constantly be scrolling. So you got to write and plan for that, transition as smoothly as you can.
I think it's different because of how normally you format comics. You can put them side by side if you need something some quick information. With the vertical scroll, you have to change it in a way to where it still flows nicely, but it doesn't seem like extra fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, what is the story that you're telling in Red Hood Outlaws?
So the story is Red Hood, Artemis, and Bizarro have formed the team the Outlaws. They get in some trouble stealing an artifact from Dinosaur Island for someone who turns out to be a Martian, pretending to be a gangster. It doesn't go well. In order to prove themselves, they get challenged to be the Justice League for a time. And so the story moving forward will be us watching how they handle all the things we've known the biggest superheroes in the world to handle.
And do you have a favorite character of the three to write?
My favorite to write is Bizarro. He's such a sweetheart, and my favorite episode that I've written so far actually focuses on him, and I'm very excited for people to get an inner glimpse of his mind.
And with Vixen, drawing it, do you have a particular what's the story that you guys are telling with that? And
So with Vixen, it's kind of a retelling of her origin story. It aged her down to make her seem she's more relatable because she's college age. She gets the totem from her grandmother when she visits her in Ghana, and the story is just following her, how she learns about her powers and how she starts to come to reality, to come to grips with the fact that, hey, I have these powers, but at the same time, I'm also just a normal college kid. What am I supposed to do?
And do you have a favorite character to draw in the strip, or
I love drawing Grace because women with muscles are awesome.
Comic women are the best.
And so, for your story, do you have a definite story that you're going to tell? And then is there possibly another story, or is this kind of an ongoing kind of?
Yeah, before I even wrote the second episode of this season, I had the entire season arced out very intentionally. And if I'm lucky enough to get a second season, I know a general direction of where I'd like to take it, yes.
And this is kind of the same question with drawing Vixen.
So, I'm not, because I said, I don't know so much what's gonna go with the future. But I mean, if there is it is ongoing, there are some. I mean, I know for sure there's a few characters that are interesting that are going to be introduced here in a little bit, but when it comes to ongoing, I'm not entirely sure.
No, that's fine. That's completely understandable.
But you'd want to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's super cool.
Yeah, it feels like every episode we complete is better than the last one. So why wouldn't we want to keep going?
Yeah, I feel like the art too. Like my art skills are upgrading every episode.
So episode 100 is going to be great.
It's gonna be amazing. Picasso.
And from what I've read of Red Hood and the Outlaws, I mean, it seems like it's a kind of a toned down, more friendly, reader-friendly version of the character. Is that something that you had to kind of take into consideration when?
Well, it's just Jason Todd, Red Hood, at a very specific point of his arc. He's. I was more interested with this part of the story of dealing with him emotionally. Right now, he's a little erratic, especially romantically, and I think it was that kind of stuff that drew me to this specific team more than the gang lord stuff at the moment.
And finally, where can people find you on social media? And definitely, Webtoons is where the comics are. And
yeah, I'm most active on Twitter at justyoungenough. Also a little bit on Instagram at prideful, PRYDFUL.
I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm under Manou Azumi, and then I also have a YouTube channel, which is Manou Azumi, where I post up like tutorials and speed paints.
That's awesome.
all right, well, thank you guys for taking the time to talk. And I've been reading. I caught up on the episodes of Webtoons before this interview, and I am going to keep reading. So, well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Ditto.